Hello VC, Roger here. I just want to chime in on the vinyl tag 2018 that's been going around. I've really been enjoying all of these, getting to know the different members of the VC so much better. It's such a neat ideal. I'm glad someone started this. Apparently there was one, I've seen a couple of them pop up for the vinyl tag for 2017. I wasn't around during that time on the VC, so I wasn't aware of it. But the 2018s I have really enjoyed and think it's just such a cool ideal. So let me get started on this. Number one, first VC channel or video I ever watched. It started out, my wife and I were going to go to Canton, Texas to First Monday, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, trade day, swap meet, flea markets, however you want to call it, in the U.S. And it's First Monday, the weekend that contains the first Monday of every month. And I never had been before, and this thing's huge. I mean, there's several square miles of trade days. And we were doing some looking around, and I thought, well, I'll just Google First Monday trade days, see what I can come up with. Well, in my looking down the list of stuff, I come across a YouTube video. So, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll see what videos are like. That give me a better idea of how to prepare and everything. In one of these videos, of course, I saw on the side another one. And it was crate digging at First Monday. And I was like, well, what's that? So I got over and got to looking, and this guy was just going through these albums, and this guy had a tent set up with all these albums there, and this guy was flipping through them, showing his crate digging and stuff, and his name was Punk Texas. And he hadn't put a video out in over a year now, so I don't know if he's just... His channel's still up, but he hadn't added any more videos in over a year. So he was my first video I had seen of album related. I don't know if he kind of considered himself the VC, but because of him, I got to looking at some of his videos, and up on the side of the YouTube thumbnails that pop up, there's one for a young man named Don Cole that I think he was holding up a Jimi Hendrix record or something, and so that piqued my interest. So I went to his channel and got to looking, and started watching him and subscribed to his channel. And he does not, he may consider himself VC. I've never heard him use the term VC, but he does collecting and various things. And sporadically puts a video out about every couple of months. But through him, it's where I saw on the side one of the gentlemen that's a very active member of the VC, and that's Andy's Vinyl Den. And through Andy's Vinyl Den, that's where I started seeing everybody that is majority of what I consider the VC community. So that was my track getting into the VC and watching the different channels. Number two, favorite VC discovery record. I had recently, about a couple of years ago, started piquing my interest more into jazz. I'd heard a lot of names, but I didn't know who people were. You know, jazz was jazz to me. I always enjoyed the music in the background of the old 50s and 60s movies, the old black and white. You'd have the jazz music going on in the lounge or whatever, and I always just loved that music. But I didn't have a clue who to pick. You know, I heard tons of names, but they were just names to me. I didn't know who to pick. After getting on the VC, though, and seeing a lot of people comment about, I picked this one up. And man, am I glad I picked that up. You guys did not steer me wrong, and you're right. This is the classic. I really, really enjoy this John Coltrane. It's been a great one. But that's discovery record through the VC. Other hobbies, unfortunately, I got thousands of hobbies. Kind of like the old saying, do a little bit of everything and master of none. And probably my other biggest hobby is family tree genealogy. I love family tree. In the family, I'm considered the family historian. I love history. I love my family history. I love Texas history, especially West Texas history. Read a lot about books and stuff about the area, and then of course my family and everything, and done research, tons of research and stuff, and traced my family back. They're coming to Texas back in the 1810s, well, not 1810s, about 1840. The main line, 1840, to Texas from Missouri, and how they came to Missouri from Kentucky, and came to Kentucky from Virginia, and so on. But back in the 1600s, so it's neat. I enjoy it, getting to trace it all back. And we talk about how we're the VC family here, and shoot, we're all related. You trace us back far enough, we all end up at Adam and Eve some point, so, or Noah. So, but that, football cards, I got into football cards real big for a while. I have thousands of football cards. Probably my other biggest one that I've been into for a while, and I kind of slacked off just because of the room and not need. And you can see a bunch of it right up here, right there. You can see some of it right there. I collect root beer bottles. I've probably got over 100 different root beer bottles. Also, a little bit when I can find them at the right price, right there. Old radios. Got a picture somewhere with that radio in it of me getting my first haircut, and that sitting on the counter behind us. So anyway, just little stuff. My wife says I have way too many hobbies, so I try to narrow them down. And so I've kind of concentrated more recently through the years just on the vinyl. So why did I start collecting? I think like most people, we didn't start collecting to be collecting. I started picking up music from people I enjoyed their music. I've started buying their records just because I like their music. I'd get into a band. I guess the first band I got into that I started trying to collect their stuff was Kiss. I was real big into Kiss in the late 70s, and got into their music and started trying to buy everything they had. Of course, that's pre-internet days and all of that. So, you only found them at the swap meets or the record stores. Well, where I lived was a little old country town, population of just, I think about 2,500 people. So, I mean, we didn't have, our record store was at the drugstore, had like maybe 100 records in it that the guy had of new releases. There wasn't anything as old ones. We had to go to Lubbock to go to an actual true record store. So I didn't get the opportunity to do a lot of trading and picking up used records that much up until I was an adult, grown, and married and everything else. So but started with Kiss, then I got into Hendrix and started picking up everything I could Hendrix, and then the Beatles, and then as far as a completist part was the Eagles and Linda Ronstadt. I got into them, and it was, of course, internet age had hit, and you had PayPal or eBay and all of those, and so I started trying to pick up everything I could, and so I've got nearly every Eagles stuff except for a few bootlegs items. Linda Ronstadt, I got all of hers except her most recent releases and stuff. So, but yeah, that's where my completist started. Now I'm trying to fill out other artists that I already had handfuls of. But yeah, that's like everybody, I think. You start out just because you like the music and the groups. Next question. Do you play an instrument or are you in a band? I play drums. I don't play in a band. Was in a band in high school. Not high school band. Well, I was in high school band. If you was in high school band at my band, at the town I was in, you were in marching band, you were in concert band, you were in jazz band, you were anything. I know some people have been putting up pictures and stuff. Here's the picture of me back in the day when I was with my band. We called ourselves Crystal Image. So anyway, did I ever work in a record store? No, I wished I had. It's probably a good thing I didn't. I would never bring home a paycheck because it'd be spent on records. Favorite album from the year I was born? Well, I was born in 1964. So, of course, I had to go this route. The Beatles. Meet the Beatles. Great record. Love every song on it. Can't go wrong with the Beatles. Next question. I lost my spot here. Oh. Classic record I have never heard. I hear this mentioned on the VC by tons of people, and I've never even heard the band. Well, I take it back. I had heard of the band, but just heard of them. Never heard any music from them. I heard a bunch of guys pick their stuff up, and it's King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King. Sorry, guys. I've never heard it. Never listened to it. I know I'm going to have to pick it up one day. I do have a record that I picked up just the other day of King Crimson. I hadn't had a chance to listen to it yet. So at least I am going to say I've been able to hear King Crimson before too long. Guilty pleasure record. I'm like a lot of people have said. To me, there's not such a thing as a guilty pleasure record. If you like it, you like it. I don't care what genre it is, and I've got an eclectic taste. Any minute I can range the gambit from jazz to rock to heavy metal to pop to folk to country and western to, I mean, you name it, R&B. I like a little bit of everything. So to say guilty pleasure, I think I understand what is being asked, though. What is out of our norm and what most people don't listen to or don't care for. And this is mine, and I love this record. Belinda Carlisle. I love that record. Mad About You. When I first heard that song, I was like, who is that Belinda Carlisle? I'll have to see who she is and pick up some of her stuff. Well, I didn't realize she was from the Go-Go's, and I already had some Go-Go stuff at the time. So, yeah, I picked this one up and really like it, and I've picked up a couple of her CDs since then. So, I guess if you want to call that my guilty pleasure. Strangest record in my collection. I just did a video not too long ago for Gilly Beck's. He wanted us to show 3 strange records. So I'm going to try to come up with something different. And this one I'll bring up a 7-inch that is kind of unusual. I don't think everybody's got it. There we go. Lunar Landing. 1969 landing of the moon. So, narrated by Hugh Downs. Just kind of a unique record. Another oddball. But I like some oddball stuff once in a while. Show a picture disc. This is the only one I have, and it's not open. So, Linda Ronstadt. Like I said, she's one of my completest ones. Living in the USA. Picture disc. So, great record, by the way. Show a posthumous release. This, I just had to make sure that it came out after he died. I wasn't positive, so I had to do some research to see when this actually came out. But it is, like many people have put, Jimi Hendrix, Rainbow Bridge. I love this album. Great record. Gatefold. I don't know if you can see that there. Anyway. Gatefold. But, yeah. I guess the big song off here, of course, it's got, I think Star Spangled Banner's on here. But Dolly Dagger. I like that song. That's a pretty good song. Hendrix died in September of 1970, and this was released in November of 71. So, band I compulsively collect. That's like a lot of people have said. I mean, I take that as one of those that you grab first and then start worrying about whether price-wise and condition-wise it is going to meet your criteria, but you automatically just grab it. And mine would be Beatles, Linda Ronstadt, Hendrix, you know, kind of the same ones that a lot of people collect. Next, Best Blind Buy. This group was a total blind buy, never heard of them, and I've looked them up and they only put out 2 records. A group called Calico. But I saw that at an estate sale. And there's the backside, zoom in where you can see the titles maybe. That's just a good country rock record right there. They've got some, Come On Down to Texas. That's one of them I like on there. Seeing is Believing. But anyway, some good songs on here. Calico, Complete Blind Buy. I've tried to look and search the other guys on here. There's 3 other guys on here that ended up, in a group called Barefoot Jerry. And another member in that band was a guy that came on to be a big hit in Nashville. Was a harmonica player named Charlie McCoy. So, kind of a neat little deal there. Blind Spot Artist. I'm not sure I understand that one. I take blind spot artists as one of those, you know who they are. You just kind of push them to the side. You push them to your blind spot. You don't care to listen to them. Even though you know of them, you just don't listen. Mine is Frank Zappa. I know that may be a shock to a lot of people in the VC, because a lot of people like Frank Zappa. But I had a friend when I was in high school that listened to Joe's Garage to the point that I was ready to break it and throw it out the stinking door, out the window when driving down the road. I was so sick of that album by that time. And since then, I have just pushed Zappa to the side, could care less about his music, don't want to hear it, you know. I don't know, maybe one day I'll pick him up again and try to listen to him, but as of right now, nah, I could care less about him. Musician you've met. I haven't met really very many. The only 2 I have met was at a concert. They called it Country Gold, and it had Jim Ed Brown, and he came out to the merchandise table after the concert and signed autographs, and you got to shake his hand and stuff. So I got to meet Jim Ed Brown. And then the other one I got to meet was this gentleman here, Jimmy Fortune. He used to be with the Statler Brothers. Big hit Elizabeth. But real nice guy. He took a minute and would talk with you instead of just signing and going pushing on. But real neat guy. Great tenor voice. Great guitar player. I mean, Jimmy Fortune. I really like his music too. show an album with sentimental value. I'll show you the cassette. Whoop. Hotel California. This is sentimental to me because this is what I was into first time I met my wife. And she moved to town. And I've told this story before on Andrew's Story of Your Life, but soundtrack of your life. But this is what I listened to when she moved to town, and I serenaded her to New Kid in Town. She moved to town, and third day she was at school, I asked her out, and now we're married. So something went right. Favorite LP that no one knows about. Oh, I forgot to get that one out. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry, I did have that out. I jumped a question. I skipped question. Your favorite album cover. My favorite album cover could be any of them from this band, Molly Hatchet. I love their album art. You know, it's the same guy that did a bunch of the old Conan and comic books and stuff back in the day. That whole artwork stuff. I mean, I like it. But yeah, all of their albums, cool artwork. Now back to where I was supposed to be at. Favorite LP that no one seems to know about. I never hear this band talked about. I know people know about them, but I never hear them talked about, and I never hear this record for sure talked about. That's Sweet, Desolation Boulevard. I love this record. This is one of the first records I owned, probably one of the first 10 I had ever bought, and it just blew me away, and I love it. Great songs, Ballroom Blitz, I Want to Be Committed, Fox on the Run, Into the Night. Great song. Every song on here. I can listen to that record straight through anytime, any day. It's just good rock and roll music all the way through. But I never hear Sweet mentioned. But I really like them. And last but not least, favorite album from a genre I don't know much about. Now, like I said, I just started getting into jazz a couple of years ago, and until the VC, I had started learning more about them. This record I picked up actually before I started really paying attention to the VC, but that's Miles Davis Kind of Blue. I knew who Miles Davis was. I knew he's one of the ones you want to get, and they kept having this one in the record store, so I picked it up. But yeah, Miles Davis, I don't know, what do you say? Great jazz guy. Hope you enjoy it. I've really enjoyed everyone's tags that I've been watching. You've done a great job. It's been so neat to get to know you guys better. Hopefully you've learned just a little bit about me. I know I've learned a whole lot about you guys, and enjoying this thread very much. Enjoy. Hope y'all have a great one. And as always, keep them spinning.